Hi, welcome back to another episode of Art World Confessions. So today I'm going to read from my notes because I made a lot of notes during this week. And I made these notes because things got very personal. You know, on social media, everything gets a bit skewed. And especially it's skewed when there are a bunch of people talking from anonymous accounts. So I was trolled by this random company called Gros Piron, and I had to research where this company was coming from because this person who was hiding behind the company eventually turned out to be the son of the owner of this company. And I call this episode Balls Less Wonders, because I remembered something a friend of mine said a while ago about, we don't entertain balls less wonders, which means men without balls. And if you ask me, someone, the son of the owner of a company who's running a Instagram account for the company and hiding behind it and bullying and really saying some really nasty things, which you'll see on the video, it just really reminded me about how low men have come these days. I mean, it's like, are there any men out there these days who actually have balls? Or are the balls all now belonging to the women? It's like, seriously. The guy was basically saying that I was living a trans life. I'd rather live a trans life than live a male life without any balls. I'd rather be a tranny than be a man with no balls, which he obviously was, because like I said, hiding behind this company profile, he was bullying me. Subscribe to see more of me in my tranny garb. Luckily, I have friends who know me, so I don't really have to explain much when it comes to my point of view about what's going on. It's like in our basic relationships between our friends, everyone knows where we stand. We don't have to make a big point of it. But what was interesting in the last week was seeing how many people were demanding that we make a stand and, making it clear that our silence would be remembered, that our silence was not a good thing, that we had to speak up for what we believed in. And to be honest, some of us are speaking up about what we believe in, but what we believe in really does have two sides. And very often you would see posts saying, they're not two sides, it's either you're with us or you're against us. Again, complete nonsense, because how can I be with some kind of entity that has no face, has no name, and really has some arbitrary boundaries that was made up by some arbitrary people 70-something years ago, and it's still being decided by some arbitrary people now? As I said in one of my Instagram posts, I'm anti-stupidity and mob mentality and bloodthirsty mob mentality. And I'm pro-humans. If you're a human being, I'm for you. And a human being may be of any race or ethnicity. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Jewish person. It doesn't have to be an Arab person. It's not necessarily a Palestinian. It may be a black person. It may be a French person. It may be a white person from Russia. If you're a human being, I stand with you. The sad truth is that a lot of people can't really give their point of view about what they believe because they're afraid of losing friends, they're afraid of losing followers. They're also a little bit confused. They don't know what to believe, and when they do voice their point of view, there's so many people there telling them to shut up and to go do their research. But as I said to one of my friends, we don't need to research how to feel as human beings. If we're human beings, we know instinctively what's right and wrong. We also know what it means to feel pain and suffering as human beings. So there's nothing to educate ourselves about. if you want to talk about educating ourselves about politics and educating ourselves about history, that's something else. But if we see people suffering, if we see people dying and in pain, we don't need to be educated. We just need to feel. And that happens with our heart. It doesn't happen with our mind. And this is where the real mix-up is right now. What's really sad right now is that people who have a platform and who could theoretically have a voice are silent because they're in positions of power which they may lose if they do voice their opinion publicly. Like, I know some museum directors who could talk about their position regarding this conflict, but they are silent right now because of the history of the museum where they are directors, or they're silent because their donors are of a certain ethnicity, or they're silent because, you know, the money's coming from somewhere and you better not rock the gravy train. So the idea of transactional support, the idea that you're supporting stuff because you know the money's going to be there if you say this and the money's not going to be there if you say that, that's a very real thing, and it's a very sad thing, and it's not in any way, shape or form contributing to the welfare of anyone besides the bottom line. And let's not forget, the bottom line is all about money. If you think about it, right now, the stocks for Lockheed Martin, all of these stocks related to war and defense, they're all up right now since Monday. I think they've even been higher than they were when the Ukraine-Russia war began. So there are people out there who are making money off of the dead bodies of children in Israel and in Palestine. There are people in Congress and in the Senate who are investing in stocks that are making money while advocating for war in these places. Just think about that. Think about that. Are these people there looking out for our welfare, or are they there looking out for their bottom line? Are they there really to help bring peace to the world and to bring a good lifestyle to everyone, or are they there to line their pockets? Only one sitting senator, a Jewish guy, Bernie Sanders, has spoken out about the atrocities that are happening in Palestine right now. Only one. I guess he's not prepared to sell his soul to make a couple bucks on the stock market. Thank God I have friends who know that I don't need to justify my point of view because I have their back. I don't need to say to them, I'm for this or I'm against this or blah, 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 because they all know that's just for show. The bottom line is, if you're a person, if you're a human being, if you're my friend, I'm going to stand with you. But I'm not going to stand for a nameless, faceless state with arbitrary borders that's oppressing other people. That's completely different. And as one of my friends said, it's not like those people support us anyways. I just had, like I said, this guy harassing me on Instagram, bullying me basically for the last week. Do you think he cares? No. If I were, let's say I was a Jenner or I was a Hilton, do you think he would have mentioned to them that you're living a trans lifestyle? No. He would have mentioned this to like Serena Williams. Maybe he would even mention it to Beyonce or to Cardi B, but he would never mention it to someone who looked white or was white adjacent. He thought it was appropriate to mention it to me because I'm black. So again, why should we have to stand up for the Palestinians, the Arabs, or the Jews when they don't necessarily stand up for us? Seriously, why should we? So after I emailed the company to let them know that one of their employees was using their business account to bully and threaten me, this guy answered, "Do you think something's gonna happen?" And that really triggered me. It made me realize that whoever was sending these messages was not only high up in the company, but was probably the owner of the company. So, like the good sleuth that I am, I went all the way to LinkedIn and I found the company and I found the owner and I found the owner's son. And just putting two and two together, you could tell that the owner's son was this guy. And I sent a message to his father to check out my post on LinkedIn. Of course, they haven't said anything, but I will continue, as I am doing right now, to make sure that people know. So this was the person hiding behind the company account harassing me on Instagram. First, I wrote to the company to alert them to the fact that whoever's using their Instagram business account is using it to bully and intimidate people online about their personal points of view. Of course, I didn't hear back anything from the company. Then I took this a little further and I looked on LinkedIn. And who should I find as the number 2 of the company? The son of the owner. So I wrote to the owner himself, the father of this boy who was writing all of these nasty things to me on Instagram. And of course, I heard nothing back again. But I did see that they checked my profile, so they obviously saw the post where I asked people to stop working with them. They throw the rock, then hide their hands, and then blame you. It is common with cowardly, abusive people. At the end of the discussion before I blocked him, he turned it around to make it seem like I was the one bullying him. He was the one who started this coming onto my page, but I was the one who was wrong and should apologize to him. Then he ends it all by threatening my son. Someone said I should report him to the FBI. What do you think? Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to know when next I upload another episode of Art World Confessions.